You know, it doesn't feel like a year since I was at Douglaswood helping out at the Single Parents Festival. This year, there's 5 of them taking place around the UK. Here we go again. I swear I must be mad. I've taken a week off work to go and work for a week. Although granted it's in Ireland, so that's always worth it. We're away going to do some volunteering at the Single Parents Festival. Excuse the slightly dishevelled look. Instead of being sensible yesterday and doing all my packing and getting organised, I spent the day working on the van, which I'll show you next Sunday. Very top secret. Anyway, we need to get ourselves down to Dundee. The first leg of the trip involves picking up a hire van, which I've heard is bursting at the seams, so let's hope there's enough power in it to get to the ferry. Let's get going. So we set off from Aberdeen and headed south towards Dundee. It's the easiest, if most boring bit of the trip. Obviously with me driving, we'll let little Colin film this part of the journey, although he kind of wanted to make his penguin friend the star of the show. This part of the trip lasted less than an hour. We made it to our pickup point for the hire van. That'd be it there. Here's our top secret key location. Now, this next part of the trip, there was a little bit of pressure to get to Cairnryan in time for the ferry to Belfast. The sailing was booked for 3:30, and to add to the fun, Elaine, the organiser, she took the first van down the day before. Hers broke down and left her, well, pretty much dead up against it to make the crossing. So I just had to cross everything and hope our van was, well, slightly more reliable. Getting as far as Glasgow, dead easy. I could do that in my sleep. For the next part though, we fired up the sat-nav, past what we called Boob Island, and before long, we made it to the ferry terminal. I've only done this crossing once before, but is it just me? Is there something fun about this? Getting onto the ferry and travelling across to Ireland, it just seems like a proper wee adventure. So we're in car deck 3. You have to try and remember that. Car deck 3. But I'll forget. Now, I'm not the best of travellers, but the crossing was dead calm. After a little while, we made it to Belfast. From here, we'd have to head inland again, over towards Omagh, which is where the Glenpark Estate is. Now, I'd guessed it would take us a couple of hours tops, but it's the home stretch, so I'm not really in a panic. By the time we arrived, it almost looked a bit like summer. The blue sky, the sunshine. Remember this, because the next few days we'd remember this fondly. It did nothing but rain as the week went on. Glenpark Estate sits on the site of the old Ulster History Park. It's also got its own version of Jurassic Park, which I really wish I'd gone to explore. And we're here. So this is the Glenpark Estate. We have made it to Ireland. Now there's still a few telltale signs of the site's former life. We went for a wee recce to get our bearings before we got stuck in. This was the Sunday, and the first families were due to arrive in less than 48 hours. So basically, it's time to get to work firing up the first few tents. By Sunday evening, well, I think I'd earned my first pint of Guinness. Right, so I've gone for a Guinness, and the challenge is to split the G. I've got to gulp and be like halfway through the letter G, so let's see how this goes.
For those who don't know what split the G is, you basically have to take 1 to 2 gulps or so and land this line, this black and white line, in the gap in the letter G.
Go!
The thing I love about the Glenpark site, it's really hands-on. That's
Out for the
Paul,
walk,
he's
eh?
one of the estate workers. Yes, that's him taking alpacas out for a walk, which you can do as well. You can book it on their website. Now this is one of my favourite things about the estate. So this is the courtyard where all the entertainment's going to be. It's pretty funky. Maybe it needs to be, I don't know, sort of medieval themed. This place is properly stuck in time. It's great. Hello. By the time the festival was up and running, we'd managed to get ourselves away from site for a couple of hours, and we went off in search of one of the Gorton Glen giants. Paul, who played driver for the afternoon, he came up the hill with us, and he told us a little hack. Turns out you can drive halfway up. That's not a little hack, that's a result. So, we're halfway up, I think it's Mullichern Mountain, to go and see the Gorton Glen giant, which is that guy, just there. And handily enough, we get perfect signal, it's great. It was a wee bit steep in places, but it's a really easy dander, and it's all been nicely surfaced as well. Almost at the giant. Well done, guys. we have it, the Gorton Glen Giant. As I said, be some view if it wasn't foggy. That'll be my taxi on its way. You know, just as quickly as the festival crept up on us, it was time to start packing up the first few tents and thinking about getting home. You know, it's weird because years ago when I was in the Scouts and we went camping, I always dreaded packing up day. And here we are. You can see where the tents used to be that we've just taken down. It's kind of weird, kind of sad. But despite the challenges and the hard work and the late nights and all the rest of it, I think everyone's had a great time. Well, the festival will move on to Farnham in Surrey. This is where I'd call it a day and head back to Aberdeen. I think my only regret, I wish I'd been able to go and see more of Northern Ireland while I was there, but it'll just keep for the next trip over. Massive shout out, by the way, to Aileen. I think she was only meant to be here originally to do the entertainment, but she ended up helping me pitch up some of the tents. She was looking after kids at the creche and blagged herself a job as our airport transfer as well. So yeah, thank you. See you soon, Ireland. Now, originally the plan was I'd get a lift from Edinburgh Airport back to Dundee so I could collect Travis, but the plan fell through at the last minute, so it was a bit of a mad scramble to try and join the dots. Eventually I managed to work out I could get the bus from Edinburgh. That would get me into the middle of Dundee. However, there was a big festival on that weekend at Slessor Gardens, so the city centre was pretty much off limits. But I did manage to get myself a taxi and got back to my van. Hello Travis, I'm back. Oh, time to head home. You know what? It was a fun, these are creakly, a fun if slightly tiring week. I am going home to bed and I'm going to have another week off, I think. Hang on, I need to shut the gate. There we go. So yeah, you know what? I knew I would like Ireland. That was never in question. What I didn't expect was to be made, you know, feel so welcome by so many folk I'd never met a week ago. Our van made it down. Travis's big brother was okay. Elaine's journey was a bit more eventful. She barely got to the ferry with any time to spare. Her dash lit up like a Christmas tree. The replacement van broke down as well. It's, you know what, some of the stuff that's happened the last week or two you just couldn't make up, but I've had a great time. So thanks as always for watching. We're a few weeks away now from Alford, so next week it's back to van prep, trying to get Travis ready for his big day out. So yeah, catch you then.